Deftones is a band that was founded in 1988 in Sacramento, California, consisting of members Chino Moreno, who was the lead singer, Stephen Carpenter, the guitarist, Chi Chang on bass, and also Abe Cunningham on drums. Deftones have been going on strong, making all different types of music these past 30 years, but what they're mainly known for is actually their progressive metal. The topics of their music mainly focus on relationships, sex, and emotions, though recently Deftones have been blowing up again in the pop culture sphere. A lot of people are starting to listen to their music. You can't go on TikTok anymore without seeing one of their songs on like a meme, I think. Why are people clamoring for this artist now more than ever? As a Deftones enjoyer, there are multiple things that make me love the band and make me kind of understand why people are gravitating towards their music now, but mainly for me it's probably because they don't give a fuck. A lot of the main reasons why I fell in love with this band is that they know who they are and what they do. They mainly go off of whether or not you know them or you don't, and it really shows heavily in their music. Whether it's the hard-hitting cuts like Around the Fur or Koi no Yokan, one thing for sure is that when you get an album, you're getting them. Their full artistic vision, their emotions, their lives, all on show for you to consume. And people feel comfort in that, including me. We live in a time where our emotions aren't even validated anymore. There's no time to look back on things and to reflect on them. And a lot of that is thanks to pop culture and social media in general. But this isn't a discussion on why those things are affecting us. But the thing is that you, on songs like Around the Fur or Cherry Waves or Minerva, it takes a lot of those feelings that you've kept up and just blasts them out. Though, specifically with what Deftones does, it's not really about a specific song. It's more about how those feelings play out throughout an album. Like, for example, on their second studio album, Around the Fur, the band starts the album with My Own Summer, which is just Chino Moreno saying that he doesn't like being in the spotlight, though he's gaslighting himself to enjoy it. Even though he knows that the shade where he wasn't as famous was so much better for himself. Then we get on to the second song being Labia. Labia is a conversation with himself and somebody else on the song, where it's basically painting this picture where Chino is denying the fact that this new popularity is affecting himself and affecting the relationship, with different lyrics such as this. On the next song, Mascara, we actually find out who he was arguing with in the last song, Labia. And it turns out that it was his wife. In Mascara, we find out that the relationship is abusive, though this is just the beginning of this whole road. Then we get to the self-titled track called Around the Fur, which is my personal favorite track on the album and one of my favorite ones from Deftones. Around the Fur is so simple in its lyrics, but its meaning has so much to it. If you think about why the album is called Around the fur being like, say, for example, a fur coat. We'll use that as an example. A fur coat looks incredibly beautiful on the outside, but on the inside, it is dead. And that's what they're really providing on this song, is that even though Chino Moreno knows that this relationship that he's in with his wife is so ugly on the inside, is something super beautiful and something that he has to upkeep. And another reason why this song is personally my favorite is just a lot of the symbolism in the song that can be overlooked, because it has one of the least amount of lyrics on the whole album. You'll find that specifically with Deftones is that they don't really use a lot of lyrics unless it's some hard-hitting cuts. You'll find specifically in songs like Head Up. But the next song after Around the Fur is going to be the song Wreckage. Which is basically Chino internalizing everything that his wife is telling him that he's doing wrong. Basically, everything that his wife is arguing with him about, being abusive about, and him just simply saying that he doesn't care to fix it anymore, even though she's probably right. But it ends on the note where Moreno says that he'd never tell her like she does. And then we also find out that the relationship is really mentally abusive in the fact that they are both doing terrible things to each other, but they don't want to basically say that each other is right. And then the next cut of the album is a song called Be Quiet and Drive Far Away, which is a lot of people's favorites. But the song is mainly about Chino Moreno basically trying to get away from the relationship, even though he can't. So in the song, there's a lot of like tones, like with the lyrics, where it shows that Chino Moreno is correlating his new girlfriend or this new hookup or whatever it is, dressing up in his wife's clothes, and then telling her to drive far, far away so that he doesn't have to stay in this relationship or be somewhat related to it. Then after that song comes the song Lotion, which is a very deep cut on the album. Not a lot of people listen to it, but it's just finally Chino coming to terms with his feelings on the relationship, him feeling very angry, and that anger making him sick that he's still in this relationship. So you'll see a lot of repeats in the song about him saying that I feel sick and everything like that, just to extrapolate the point that this relationship is causing him so much pain, but he doesn't want to get out of it. And then the next song is Die the Flu. A new perspective of the relationship that further continues this point where they're always on and off. Die the Flu is about him staying in this relationship, going out of it, coming back, going out of it, coming back, thinking that she's going to change. And then that also is the case for Head Up, where now Head Up is basically the aftermath of all of his thoughts, right? He's like, okay, all of this happened, whatever. It's time to keep my head up. because we're back in this relationship and we have to continue it. And I have to think that she's a better person to continue this relationship. And then the album ends with MX, but the thing with MX is that it's very confusing. It's a 40-minute track with a lot of nothing inside it, but thankfully on Genius and the lyrics there was an actual interview with Chino Moreno, and I'll leave a link to that down in the discussion, or down in below somewhere around here, because it's an interesting read on why the song is how it is. So I forgot to basically unmute myself, and basically what I was saying is that I just took a shower and I spent about like 15 minutes recording this next section. Future Elijah, I'm sorry for that. Sorry for all the pain that I had to put you through. Last thing we talked about was about Deftones and their second album, Around the Fur, and all of the themes inside of it, which were mostly about toxic relationships. But the important thing that I wanted to talk about is, even though, this was the viewpoint of Chino Moreno, looking directly into the lyrics and trying to figure out his brain while writing, and all of the other band members making this music, it's important to understand that their vision, like their ideas of the song, isn't the only idea. What I mean by this is that a lot of Deftones, you can listen to it and you can put yourselves into the shoes of the songs. Basically, you can become the main characters of these songs. It's not you're listening to somebody else's story. A lot of the lyrics in Deftones music is very minimalistic. It's straight to the point with a lot of emotion. Chino Moreno makes up for his songwriting by using his voice, creating emotion in his music, and it's important to understand why Deftones is going to be so culturally significant, especially now and into the future, especially in pop culture. A lot of Deftones is music you can listen to, music you can feel for, music you can put yourself in, and music that helps you. You can listen to, like, say, Die the Flu. You can put yourself and use a previous experience, make a correlation with this song, and it becomes more meaningful to you. And that's the greatest part about Deftones, is because it's not like, say, Taylor Swift, for example. Even though I like Taylor Swift's music, it's just mostly stories about her. And yeah, Deftones are stories about Chino Moreno, but it's not written out to be. It's written out to be a vessel for your situation, whatever situation that may be. But it's done so perfectly that it's kind of feels like the music is made for you. The reason why, Deftones have been blowing up all over in general recently. And they've always been like popular, but not a lot of people knew about them, especially in my generation until recently. I knew about them a little bit before they blew up. That's just what a lot of people are searching for, that comfort, especially in a time where there isn't a lot of comfort. There's a lot in history is music, a lot of tones, a lot of TV, a lot of movies that basically make you have to be a very masculine dude, and you can't show any emotion because that's against the grain of everything. Blow up of grunge happened, and it was a lot of like drug culture and a lot of people talking about their drug problems and stuff like that. But the reason why Deftones feels more than that is because rather than, say, a Nirvana, right, it's very like feminine, like a lot of femininity inside of their music. Chino Moreno talks about abuse and that's happened to him and stuff, and whether you like it or not, people don't really see that men go through relationship abuse or sexual assault. I'm not saying that it doesn't happen like a lot, because I do think that women do have more tendencies to be in that situation, which sucks, and I feel for all of them, but for a lot of men, you have to think about the suicide attempt rate for men is 80% higher than women, right? It's a lot of societal pressure on men to do this, to do that, to do this, to do that, right? Another reason why this is so incredibly important, Deftones, is because a lot of men listening to their music could have that voice, that voice that they were taught not to have, not to feel their emotions, not to speak about their emotions, being chismo. I felt like that was an important topic to talk about as well while doing a full epigraph on Deftones, because it is one of the main reasons why I listen to them, listen to. I don't know what I'm trying to say. But basically, if you've gotten to this point, thank you for watching this video. I know it's a little bit silly, all that. If you're watching on YouTube, thank you for watching, And if this is for my in-class assignment, I wanted to say, this video has been going on for a long time, and I didn't want to take up too much of your time. I know it's been going for a long time, but I have a couple of interviews from some different people about Deftones and how they see Deftones. And I don't know if I'm going to leave it unedited or not. I mean, well,
so run! Right back to school. Look back, I sift through all the clicks, rolling the halls all year, making me sick. While everyone's out trying to make the cut. What? And when you think you know me right, I switch it up. Behind the wall, smoking cigarettes and sipping vodka. I'm a fist to catch a cab, ain't no one can stop us. Give me a break, I'm on some other mess. Why you act like it's everything you got?
I'm recording in 3, 2, 1. Who are you? What's your name?
Quantavious Quantivo.
So
Alright, well, do I do it properly?
No, that's fine. I'm keeping that in, bro. What's your
That's fine with
favorite
me.
song? So Deftones. Do you like them?
I
You know
love
who-
Deftones.
you love Deftones.
Deftones. I listen to them at least like I get it. I always get into a mood to listen to them. I think they're really, really good. Actually, I love their album. I own the vinyl of it.
Which album?
It's Around the Fur, the goated one, the best one.
Nice. That's also one of my favorites. What's your favorite song from them? Specifically, if you can think of one.
It was. I want to still say, "Be Quiet and Drive" on Around the Fur, because I just really like the vibe it gives. And I explain it, but like it just relieves tension. It's just a good song to just hear, Like I don't know how to explain it. Just sonically, it's like just perfect. It's one of the
Sonically,
best
so
rock songs I've ever heard, or metal songs, I should say.
Yeah, that song's really good. I love the hook from it. It's one of my favorites.
Facts, bro.
Why do you like Deftones specifically?
I don't listen to like that much metal, that much. I just don't listen to it as much, but it has so many like I don't know how to explain it. It just has these elements that they just like do perfectly. I forgot the lead singer's voice, the name, but the way his
Chino
voice
Moreno.
the way his voice like in cat like brings all the instruments together, and it's just like super fucking loud, and it's like oh, I should be more professional.
It's
But
fine.
it's like it's just the way sonically it's very loud, and you feel more emotion from like the songs itself, and that's just because he captures it so perfectly with his voice, I just think makes him like a really good artist.
Yeah. So like, what are they doing different from all the other artists you've listened to?
Different is honestly is like the way okay, it is the way the lead singer like just uses his voice. Like, because I hear a bunch of artists like they'll just sing over a beat, or they'll just rap over a beat, or they'll just like they don't use the instruments as a whole. They just don't utilize it as much. And they're like the way he uses his voice is very much like an instrument. And it's just easy, like just to kind of like kind of just kind of get the overall like feeling of the song like that's what I feel like he makes different. Like let's say it's a whole different artist, but like Nirvana and Deftones, the feeling I get from Deftones is like a bit more than what I get from Nirvana, kind of.
Yeah, so they're like very, very like heavy. Like their music is super emotional. Like there's a lot of like
Exactly.
emotion to it, everything. Like whether that be how hard they're playing or just the
Yeah,
vocalist like with his
how
different
hard they're
inflections
playing.
in his
Yeah,
music.
exactly. That's what I feel like they do different the most. It's literally just that. Like
Yeah.
just you can feel the passion from like you just feel it.
Yeah. What type of impact have they had on your life?
Honestly, I just like mm, as like impact go, I think they really made me delve more into like metal, more into rock. They made me appreciate like different genres a lot more because I didn't listen to much music like that before. Like I heard Deftones, so I think that they really did broaden my horizons just overall.
Mhm.
And I don't know, like when I put on the album, it does just like though it's like it's metal, it's a bunch of screaming. It just calms me down, and it just I don't know. It's just I'd say they made me more positive, more open minded, and just like it's just an easy way to relieve my stress and stuff.
Yeah.
So
Would you
very
say
positively.
would you say that listening to Deftones have helped you find out who you wanted to be? Like
Yeah,
whether that be
to an extent, yeah, actually, I think so. Cause well, again, like it broadened my horizon. Like it made me understand like myself. Like oh, I love like I do love like all like music as a whole in general, and I just didn't have an appreciation for it like at all.
yeah.
Cause and again, like I listen to them like every other day, once every 3 days, whatever it may be. Or I'll listen to them for like an entire day as well. Like I just go through all their albums. But yeah, like they broadened my horizons a lot, dude. And I do like really appreciate Deftones for that.
Nice. So, do you think Deftones as a band, like from all the stuff you've listened to, do they spread a positive image and then do they spread a negative image? Like, what do you think?
I think they spread a really good positive image because you every time on Twitter or like other social media, it's like I see people talk about Deftones, it's always positive. Because it's just like they just encapsulate like the youth in the sense. So like
Yeah,
a lot of people really like just like them as a whole. I wish I could phrase it better, but
like they
yeah,
they
like
they provide like some sort of like support
I yeah, like a
basically.
support, like a voice like that. Yeah,
Yeah,
like every time I see something about Deftones, there's
like
always people like appreciating what they do and stuff
mhm.
too.
Do you know like can you give me like a specific example of how like they spread that positive image? Like what is the positive image and how they spread it? Like it could be like in any other songs.
I think okay, so I think a lot of it is like teenage frustrations, like basically mascara is about how this guy loves this girl so much, but he like does dislike a lot of things about her. Be Quiet and Drive is about kind of like escaping from things and just like doing what you want. Mile and Summer Shove It. It's like I forget. Oh shoot, I can't think of the line at the top of my head. Hold on.
Which one?
But my own
Sing
Summer
it. Don't
Shove
be
It.
afraid. Sing it, bro. Don't be
Hold
afraid.
up, I forgot it. I listened to it so often right now. Hold up.
Don't be afraid. The whole crowd is listening.
My whole house is full of people. But I
Yeah.
don't know. Like it's just like is I don't know. It creates this like kind of image for the youth. It not image. Hold up. Let me think about my words. The topics they talk about like generates like ideas for the youth and how their feelings about things, which is why like they spread this positive image, and the way they like are screaming about it, or they're just singing, like letting the emotions out essentially. I think that's what they do for like lots of their listeners basically.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like they use them as like they see them as like an escape from like normal from like their day-to-day lives where they can't do what they want to, which is
Yeah.
cool.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for hopping in this call and discussing Deftones with me,
Of
fellow
course, man.
Deftone enjoyer.
I love Deftones.
I
Deftones is
love
one of
Deftones.
my, but no, like really, they are one of my favorite bands ever. I would sing my own summer if I was in a different space, but I
Yeah.
just can't right now. Cause
I think
yeah,
I think my favorite song off that album is still "Around the Fur." I
see that one's really good too. But I
I
just think Be Quiet.
it's
I think my
so
own summer is too iconic though.
it's so simple, but what it symbolizes is so much because like around the fur, from what I get from it, is like so like fur, right? Like you think of fur, you think of like an animal, right? And
Yeah,
coming around the fur, it's like the inside of that animal. Say so like the outside could be something incredibly beautiful, but then the inside is something dead and disgusting, right?
yeah.
So like I feel like it's really just discussing on like being in a relationship and knowing that that person is so disgusting on the inside, but just that physical need, that like how they look and stuff is just keeping you in that relationship.
Overbearing. It's
Yeah.
overbearing, dude. Yeah. Ah.
It's, I, that shit's so hard. That shit's
Nah, that
so
shit is
hard.
hard.
Yeah. All right.
I didn't think of it like.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
that's
listen to it again. I want to
yeah,
listen to it.
bro.
I'll listen to it later.
Yeah, give me your thoughts, bro. All right.
Of what?
Thank you.
Oh, of course. So that was it.
3, 2, 1. All right, I'm starting the interview now. What's your name? Can you state your name?
Abraham Preciado.
Abraham Preciado. Would you call yourself a Deftones enjoyer?
Yes.
You're a Deftones enjoyer? All right, perfect. What's your favorite song from them?
Knife Party or Maine.
And that's off of
One's
White
on
Pony,
the
right?
White Pony, and the other is off. I forgot the name, but it's the one that has a girl on the album cover.
Oh,
The
Xerxes?
green one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good album. Why do you like the artist? Like, why do you like Deftones specifically?
Because I like their mix of soft vocals over metal instrumentals. Kind of one.
Like,
I like that certain mix.
can you give me like an example of a song where they do that really well?
I would say my favorite one where they would do that would probably be Xerxes. That
Xerxes?
song. It's a very soft spoken
that song's
song.
really
Well,
good.
they have.
Yeah. My favorite's Around the Fur, me personally.
Oh, yeah. Around the Fur is a great one.
I know. What are they doing different from all the other artists you listen to?
That the whole
The soft-spoken
soft
voices,
spoken, yeah,
all that
over
stuff.
the heavy instrumentals.
Yeah, I get you. So like, specifically, like, have they had an impact on your life? Like, it could be like emotionally, it could be like just taste of music, it could be anything really.
Taste of music, maybe, because I remember my uncle used to listen to his music when I was little, and so I think maybe that's where I got the whole instrumental taste from. Because he would also listen to bands such as like Korn and stuff like that when I was little, so I would always be in the other room listening to that.
Like a whole bunch of metal music and stuff.
Uh-huh.
Shit's sick. And then would you say listening to Deftones have helped you figure out like who you wanted to be, or like just give you like an idea of your own self, like how you see yourself? Like,
Maybe, I don't know.
Maybe not a little bit. Maybe.
I
Like,
feel like uh it depends really, because like they haven't made me feel like they haven't like changed anything, I would say.
yeah.
But like probably when I'm like listening to music and stuff like that, maybe like influences me a little bit. I feel like more amped up and stuff like that.
Yeah, I get you. So like for example, let's say like you were listening to one of their songs. Like it could be like at any point of time in your
Hmm.
life. Has it affected you like emotionally to some degree? Like you were listening to it and you were like, "Damn." It just like made you think about something, or like it could be like emotionally good or bad. It just has it affected you in some way?
Yeah, sometimes I feel like I'm floating. So, yeah, sure.
Like floating, like the SpongeBob meme?
Uh-huh. Yep. Sometimes I feel like there's a light shining on me and I'm floating.
Yeah, I get you. I feel like Deftones, just their sounds, like it's just Chino Moreno for me, like his vocals,
Yeah.
especially on like some of their earlier cuts, like Adrenaline, Around the Fur, White Pony.
Oh yeah.
Deftones, their self-titled albums, low key underrated,
Hmm.
like hella. Um, so what type of image do you think Deftones as a band spread?
Image, type of image. Um, it depends because they kind of like, they kind of shifted from when they were new to like the type of music they make nowadays. Back then they were a little more hardcore. They kind of, the image they gave back then was more of like, mosh pitting and just being loud, being, very metal, very like feeling like you're indestructible. And now I feel like they give the image of like, I don't know, like something beautiful,
Yeah.
something like that.
I get you. I feel like they really changed with the White Pony album. Like I feel like
Oh yeah.
a lot of the stuff, I don't know what was going on back then with them personally, but I feel like a lot of the stuff before White Pony was very like trying to voice themselves out, cuz like in Around the Fur they always talk about like Chino Moreno's like abusive relationship, and even in Adrenaline you get a taste of that somewhat.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like my last question for you is Deftones. Who would you who would you recommend to listen to Deftones? Like randomly on the street. Like somebody goes up to you, what should I listen to? Who would you recommend it
Uh,
to?
who would I recommend it to, or what would I recommend?
No, who? Like what type of person?
Um, Someone that wants to get into different genres of music, but doesn't necessarily want to jump into something so hardcore yet.
Yeah.
Like, there's lots of metal music that might be like a little like, what the hell's going on for
Slipknot.
some people, but like this one I think is a good balance.
Good balance of both.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. Any like closing thoughts about like Deftones in general, or like anything you want to say?
Uh, um, no, I don't know. No, not really.
All right, Swag. Thank you for coming on.
Yeah.
Arr, arr, arr.